All right, we are live. What's up, everybody? This is Chris, and this is my channel, Barnum 11970. And as always, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. And I have an interesting situation that I would like to share with you all. So, um, whether you're watching this live or you're watching it later on when it gets uploaded, I hope you'll listen to it and hear what I have to say. So, to those that are coming in, I want to thank you for being a subscriber or just listening to this video. So, all right. So it is the 28th of February, 2017, 4:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I had an interesting situation that happened to me last night that I would like to share because, in a sense, it could be life-changing. Who knows? I guess we'll find out in the days to come. But a couple of days ago, I went shopping and stopped at the local dollar store because my wife needed me to pick up a couple of things. And to give a background, I am Irish, English, and Italian. I'm Sicilian Italian. I've basically lived on pasta all of my life. And my wife being a vegan, we've, especially in the past 2 or 3 years, have been eating a lot healthier. And if you saw the video I made a couple of days ago where I was getting sick from eating junk food because I had some cravings, and it shows that there must be more to these genetically modified foods or cheaper versions of what they like to call food, processed food and all the chemicals they put in them. And being a person that has been eating a lot healthier thanks to my wife, I've noticed that things that I used to enjoy and eat regularly affect me in some pretty bad ways. And that really happened to me last night, and I'd like to share this story with you. When I was at the dollar store, well, we one of the things I used to love eating as an Italian and with pasta and everything is raviolis. I've eaten them pretty much all my life. I used to drink gallons of milk with pasta all the time. And for a while, she was buying me organic raviolis. And the place that we usually go, one of the organic stores around us, no longer for some reason sold them. So I had a craving. So while I was at the dollar store, they have a whole like food area. And I saw that they had raviolis. So I was like, all right, I have a craving for them. Let me buy a couple of bags and, you know, see what they're like, What is it like to have food at a dollar store? I've never had food from a dollar store, and now I could see probably why. But last night, around 7 o'clock, I made myself a plate of the raviolis and was perfectly fine. And then all of a sudden, around 4 o'clock this morning, my lungs started filling up to the point where it felt like I had like literally tar filling my lungs. Um, when I ate these raviolis and I covered them with sauce, but I mean I could taste the chemicals, and I had an inkling that this was not going to be good. But I was always brought up, you finish your plate, you don't make something unless you're going to eat it. My family always used to give me that, the starving people in the world, if you take a plate of something, you eat it. So even though I could taste it and I had a feeling it wasn't going to be good, I ate them anyway because I didn't want to throw them out. Well, probably around 6 or 7 o'clock this morning, my lungs got so bad that I literally almost died. Now, my wife works nights, so I am from midnight till about 9 a.m. Home alone. So this hit me, like I said, roughly around 6 o'clock in the morning, and it was the weirdest thing, because if you've watched my channel for a while, if you're one of the subscribers that have been following me for a while, you know I've almost died from walking pneumonia 5 times in my life. That was one of the reasons why a couple of years ago I got into sun gazing. For the 2 years I was sun gazing, I didn't get sick once, and I was one of those people. I was sick every year my whole life, and I haven't sun gazed since 2012. Now, I notice that I do get sick every now and then, but my recovery time is amazing. Like back in the days before I sun gazed, I would If I got a cold, it would turn into walking pneumonia. My lungs would fill with fluid, and I would literally be in bed for a week to two and probably end up having to go to the hospital. So even though I can get sick every now and then, now my recovery time is pretty amazing. So it's definitely helped that. And when it gets warmer out, I am definitely going to go back to sun gazing again, despite what some people may have to say about it. But at one point last night, my breathing got so restricted that I was literally panting. Now this went on between around 6:30 in the morning till at least about 9:30 in the morning when my wife got home. And I mean, it was probably the worst experience I've ever had, where it literally felt like my lungs were filled with tar and there was some air bubbles trying to get out. And I was literally like forcing myself to breathe. And what I noticed is my breath got less and less and it was fading. It was the weirdest experience. And I remember a couple of times I stopped breathing. And there were two or three times last night where I literally, after a minute of not breathing, gulped for air. Like if you've ever seen somebody that was underwater for too long and they have to rush up and they get that gasp of air, that was me about three times last night, to the point where I was not getting enough oxygen. I was getting a massive fever from this crap food that I bought at a dollar store. And at one point, when my wife got home, she wanted to take me to the hospital, but because we don't have Obamacare, because we can't afford it, we don't have health care, I am going to be stubborn that way because I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars. So, and I couldn't even get up if I wanted to. But I had this weird feeling that I needed to tell my wife, where anything important in the house is, like, where some of my gold and silver stored and any money that I might have hidden away, things like that. Because at one point, I literally, and this is the weirdest part, because like I've almost died from walking pneumonia, but that was because of fevers and stuff like that. And I went to the hospital when I was younger and they saved me from it. But this one was just different because I was literally feeling my breath fading away to the point where I couldn't even speak. And at one point, there was almost like this voice in my head that said, just let go. And the weirdest sensation came over me because I wasn't scared. I felt like really, really calm with it. Like it's okay to just go. And my breath got really faded at that point. But the one thing that I will take from, well, there's several things I'll take from this. One, I have an incredible wife. Two, um, don't ever get food from a dollar store. And three, that it's okay when it's our time. And I literally was like a breath or two from making the decision to just stop. But my experience was very calm. Like it was something that was supposed to happen. Like it was okay. And the stubborn part of me said that that's just no, it's not my time. And I made sure, because like when my wife said we're going to take you to the hospital, I said, don't worry, I'll be fine. And I'm a lot better now. I'm not 100%. I'm still getting out all this chemicals from this garbage that I put in my body. Lesson learned. But it also shows the amazing recovery. My lungs are kind of halfway still filled with fluid. I'm in the process of getting it out by drinking a lot of tea, a lot of water, and it's already helping. But the fever is kind of there, but it's not as bad. But I just thought it was the strangest thing where I was literally fading away last night. And I told my wife about this. I didn't want to tell her at first, but I thought it would be something to share. Also to show her that she'll never get rid of me if she tried. But she kind of laughed and liked that. But it was just a calming sensation. Like I was literally just supposed to just close my eyes and that was it. And one thing, I mean, I'm 46 and I know a lot of people as they get older, they start fearing death and they start worrying about these things. And my experience with it now, obviously I can't control, where I go and how I go, but that calming sensation that I felt like it was just okay. Didn't feel nervous or scared, and just knew that, well, this could be the last breath I ever take, was very calming. And I just wanted to share that with people because this world is all about fear. This world is all about anger and hatred and jealousy and negativity. And we tend to focus on those things. And this kind of put things in a much different perspective. When you get to the point where you're just saying to yourself, just take that last breath. I mean, trivial things like negativity on the internet or problems financially in your world don't seem to have the same effect. And this world, I mean, for whatever reason we're here, we do have some sort of control, because as easy as it would have been to just stop breathing, because I mean, literally near the end of that, I was like barely breathing. I mean, the best way to describe it is if you ever seen like a goldfish when it's gasping for air at the top of a tank because there's no oxygen left in the water. That's kind of how I felt. And no matter, I couldn't even really speak because I didn't have the lung capacity to generate any kind of noise other than a whisper. And I could have easily just said, you know what, let's just let it go. And I'm still here. So, lesson learned. So, it also shows me that there's a lot of food out there that may be cheap, but it's definitely killing people. It's definitely getting people sick. And that is either on purpose or, well, I'll let you decide that. So I guess my whole having to eat any kind of dairy has to be totally eliminated. And that's fine. Because like they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So, if I can teach anything, um, start eating healthier. Start looking into the things you put in your body, because there are people out there who thrive on our trustworthiness and our ignorance, and they profit off of it. And to me, what was simply just a plate of pasta almost ended up being my last meal. And if I can share anything, it's, you don't know when it's your time. And it's time we all start trying to think in different ways and better ways, and not see some of the trivial things that ruin our day, like somebody taking a parking spot or some troll saying some ridiculous comment, and seeing the bigger picture. So, part of me wants to hope there's a lawyer out there and I sue the living hell out of that company. But obviously, because I didn't go to the hospital, there's no way to show damage. But if anything, it just taught myself. So I wanted to share that story because I think this was very important for me, and it's definitely made me think a little differently about life, because I could have easily just extinguished mine. So I want to say to everybody out there that no matter what your motives are, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to what I have to say. I cannot control what you think about it. I can only relay my story. What you decide to make of it is up to you. I don't wish this on anybody, but if you learn something from an experience, then it happened for a reason. And that's something I've taught on this channel for a very long time, is that if we take the negativity, if we take the bad, if we take the mistakes and judgment or whatever, and we learn something from it that can be beneficial to either yourself or others, then it had a purpose. And that's why I don't regret how horrible I felt last night. So I want to thank everybody for listening to what I had to say, and let you know that I'll be okay. And again, with the sun gazing, plenty of people out there that will think it's the most crazy, ridiculous thing in the world. But if people knew me before I did it, my recovery time, I would be in the hospital right now with pure oxygen over my head, having blood tests and all these other things. So I can't I can control what I put in my body, but the chemicals definitely affected me in a way that almost killed me. And that's cheap food. It's the food that most of us out there in this world can only afford because they drive prices so high by borrowing all of this money and creating these problems that some of us have no choice. Now, I'll never buy that stuff again. And as a matter of fact, I bought 10 packages. I had my wife throw them out. So they're in the garbage right now. And you may be younger and think, oh, I can eat anything. Because trust me, I lived off of fast food for 15, 20 years. Every day, 2 to 3 times a day. 5, 6, 7 times a week. Eventually it catches up to you. And when you start eating healthier and you don't have those chemicals in your body, and then all of a sudden you go back to some kind of craving that you had, it will hit you. And shame on the people who make these things. Whether it's accidental or on purpose, we may never know, but we can control it. I'll never buy crap like that ever again. So again, lesson learned, good things came out of it. I'm okay, and that's all that matters to me. So thank you for allowing me to share this experience with you, and I hope you all have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon.